Most mortgage lenders charge a fee, sometimes up to 1.5 points for pulling cash out of your home's equity. Those points are on your whole loan balance, not just the cash you get. For example, if your loan amount is $400,000, that's a $6,000 fee. For a limited time, Owning will waive this fee so qualified borrowers can get a cash-out refi with absolutely no closing costs of any kind. Besides the usual no title, escrow, appraisal, etc., no fees for a cash-out on a 30-year fixed mortgage. So if you're in process somewhere and paying fees, call 8332-OWNING or go to owning.com, where our rate and APR for a no cash-out fee 30-year fixed mortgage is 2.75%. But hurry, the mortgage industry won't like this, so who knows when this special goes away. Call 8332-OWNING or go to owning.com.
NMLS 2611, licensed by the Department of Financial Protection and Innovation under the California Residential Mortgage Lending Act. Subject to credit approval. Call 833-303-2160 for terms and conditions. Equal housing lender.
I'm Doc Rivers, and I'm proud to present a new podcast documentary series called It Was Said Sports, where I guide you through 6 of the most impactful and timeless speeches in sports history. Listen and follow It Was Said Sports, a documentary podcast presentation of Shining City Audio, a C13 Originals, and John Meacham Studio. Available now on Odyssey and wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Joe DeCamera and John Ritchie, 94 WIP. Merrill montage coming up at the top of the 11 o'clock hour. How it sounded yesterday here on WIP with the calls of Merrill and Mike with the game. We'll get to that coming up in about 15 minutes. Also, coming up here, this segment, we'll go inside the snap counts. You know, one of the interesting things, particularly in a week one, because it gives you an idea of who the coaches want to play. I mean, who they trust the most, who they actually play, and what percentage of plays they play. There were some very notable things that stood out. We'll get to that shortly. Let's go to the phones right now. 215-592-9494. Let's go to Lamar, who's with us. What's up, Lamar?
How you guys doing?
All good, buddy.
Doing great, Lamar.
Fun game to watch yesterday.
Oh, dude, it was phenomenal. I mean,
That's what we waited all year for, right? A game like that, and to kick off the season like that.
Lamar, we waited.
Unbelievable.
We waited 2 years. I mean, you have to go back at least to that December game versus Dallas when the Eagles won, I think 17-9 at home. For the last time, I mean, the Saints game last year was cool, no question, but it was in the midst of such a downer of a year. This was a really fun game. It really was kind of thrilling.
So I want to bring up a couple things real quick. Number one, so you guys have been kind of calling for the Eagles to name Hurts the starter since training camp. The first day of training camp. Why haven't the Eagles named Hurts the starter? Why haven't they? And made, in my opinion, a really too big a deal on that whole thing. The players knew who the starting quarterback was going to be. It's more important that the players know than the fans know. I could care less if they named Jalen Hurts the starter until they did, which was last week. And I don't know why you guys really made a big deal out of that.
Lamar, here's my view of it. So it didn't bother me that they did not name Hurts the starter to begin camp. I thought they should have named Hurts the starter by roughly about 2 weeks into camp. To me, it was exceedingly obvious. And I thought it was, for lack of a better way to put it, stupid that they hadn't. Now, in the end, is it that big a deal? No. Is it possible it's not a big deal at all? Yeah, it's possible. But I just thought that they needlessly took it too long.
That's all that matters.
I think it is a big deal to Jalen Hurts. I think it is a big deal to the quarterback himself. And it was a slap in the face. The fact that they didn't show the confidence in him that they should have. And, you know, for what it's worth, he took that as a challenge, I guess, and he certainly made the most of it.
I mean, it can be a source of motivation. There is the flip side. Which
this guy, he framed it properly and said, well, hey, you're not going to – it's no big deal. You're not going to name me one. I'm just going to take it. And that's what he did. We've got the right kind of guy under center. I just wish that they would have, acknowledged that, recognized that, given him the spot that he deserves.
Yeah,
but
it just struck me
maybe
as
they
kinda
didn't
odd.
see it in him the way that it sounds like his camp was just incredible. I didn't see incredible at the practices I was watching.
Right.
But in those scrimmages against other teams, he just took it over. That's what we are told.
Yeah, we were told that.
So, good for him. He took it as motivation.
All right, let's get to the snap counts yesterday, John, offensively and defensively. Let's start on offense. Couple things stand out. So first off, the Eagles had 71 plays yesterday. Devontae Smith is the skill position player that was on the field for the most plays. He was on the field for 62 plays, and it's kind of as you expect. I mean, he's one of your better players. Just put him out there and go. So he's out there 87% of the time. Reagor played in 70% of the plays. Quez Watkins was 48% of the plays.
Yeah.
But one of the two guys from last year that were really downgraded.
Yeah.
Greg Ward was in only 16 plays. That's 23%.
Yeah,
So
I'm
obviously
surprised.
they're giving these young guys a shot. And Boston Scott, who I think is a decent player,
Me too.
he didn't play at all. And I felt bad for him because I actually think he can contribute. And there's no doubt in my mind that he will contribute as the year goes on. Someone's going to get hurt. There's going to be something with the game, the way it goes, whatever it is. I mean, Boston Scott's going to get a shot. But obviously they relied primarily on Miles Sanders, who was out there 66% of the plays, and Kenny Gainwell 35%, and no Boston Scott. And it just struck me, John, that the coaching staff really said, hey, Scott and Ward, who last year were, sizable part of this, there are better players now. Gainwell and Reagor in the slot. You just had more juice. And even Ortega-Whiteside as a blocker.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the coach's approach. And at least for yesterday, it looked effective.
I was surprised with the Boston Scott thing.
Yeah.
I really like Kenny Gainwell.
Yep.
I think it's the right move having him in there as your 2-minute back. I think he is the most talented receiver of that group, and that's right where he should be as long as he understands the protections and can do a good job in that regard, and it seems as though he has. The Greg Ward thing was also surprising.
I mean,
he seems to have a wonderful relationship with Jalen Hurts. Last year we saw that prove itself out on the field. I guess they just look at both of those guys as dependable backup players that they will need to rely on at some point, probably in the near future. They're going to get their chance, and they're telling them, hey, make sure you maximize it when we give you the shot.
Clearly what they're doing with Greg Ward is they're prioritizing speed on the field. I mean, we all know Greg Ward is dependable for what he does. He can go across the middle. He can get open, a decent amount, and he will, generally speaking, catch the ball. But he's not going to stretch the field. He's not going to blaze you with speed. And they're basically saying we're putting the three young guys out there for a speed purpose, or, of course, the two tight ends, which they did some of that also yesterday, because Ertz and Goddard both played over 50% of the snaps as we expected. Goddard, 73% of the snaps. Ertz, 58% of the snaps. His snap count might have been slightly higher if he hadn't missed that one series with the hamstring issue coming out of the locker room. So, they still had two tight ends, or at least one, and even Stoll got in there.
What were the numbers for the tight ends?
So
again?
Goddard was 73% of the snaps.
Yeah.
Zach Ertz was 58%, and even Jack Stoll was 17% of the snaps. Mm-hmm. So they had a lot of two tight ends, whether it was Stoll and Goddard, Ertz and Goddard, and at times they had three tight ends. Exactly right. Now, let's get to the defense because, look, they're going to rotate defensive linemen, and they did that a lot. And it was good. They were able to keep snap count pretty low. Fletcher, the defensive lineman that played the most, only played 57% of the snaps. That's good. It's not a huge amount. Obviously, with 17 games, you want to manage these guys. And, of course, at the very end of the game, it was a runaway, and I'm sure they were able to get Fletcher out late. But the linebackers, to me, John, was
Does it worry you all at all that Fletcher Cox was blanked on the stat sheet?
No tackles?
Nothing.
No, because I thought he played well. I thought he penetrated. I thought he, especially as the game got going, I thought he created hurries for Matt Ryan. I thought Fletcher Cox played. Does it bother you?
Yeah, it does.
I mean, D linemen, a lot of times defensive tackles aren't going to rack up the tackles.
I know that, but the great ones do, and we're expecting greatness.
I thought he was fantastic. I mean,
he wasn't. He was our third best defensive tackle yesterday.
Behind Ridgeway, Hargrave and Ridgeway?
Yeah, they seemed like they were causing havoc in there.
I
know Fletcher was getting double-teamed
had to be
at
double-teamed
times.
compared to
He
Ridgeway.
was double-teamed.
Yeah,
no doubt about it. He's accustomed to that.
Yep.
But if things keep going the way they're going, and it's going to be completely different next week, different looks, all that stuff, better linemen, Fletcher might have a breakout-type performance with the stats, but yeah, 0-0-0 across the board.
Yeah, all right.
We need better than that.
All right, here's the other thing. So the linebackers, I mean, the corners are going to play and safety is going to play all that. But the linebackers, we were all wondering, well, how are they going to divvy up the playing time? So first off, the Eagles played 6 different linebackers. In past years, I don't think they had 6 linebackers on the roster.
Well, they were in that 3-4 a lot.
I know they were.
Because Atlanta tried to get heavy and run the ball.
So Eric Wilson played a real good amount. I mean, he's the guy they leaned on the most, 85% of the snaps. Singleton, 60% of the snaps. TJ Edwards, 40%. Jannard Avery, 31%. And then some of this is late game substitutions when the game was a blowout. But Bradley got in there for 9 plays, 12%. And Johnson, the rookie, I think he was a 7th rounder, but he got in 10%. But some of them were early. I mean, it wasn't like it was all garbage time playing. So it was just so unusual to see so many different linebackers play. John, could you get a sense of who played well amongst them? Who played best amongst those 6 guys? It was hard for me to tell. Because
I didn't think Jannard Avery, like as you mentioned, gave us as much as I'd hoped. We were told that he was going to be, he'd have a breakout season because he was in this Sam spot where he's featured at times as a pass rusher and, has to set that edge against the run. We didn't set an edge at times. They were taking what they wanted against that 3-4.
Yep.
And then when the game turned, the second half of the game, when they went away from doing what they were successful doing in the first half because they were in catch-up mode, it wasn't a problem because they weren't running those plays. I think the linebackers need to do better. I'm going back and watching the tape, and I'll let you know who did well out of that group.
Yep.
But no one sticks out as having had a great game.
It doesn't mean, though, that they didn't play well. I mean, the team gave up 6 points. I mean, obviously, collectively, they did a lot well. James, what information you got in there right now?
Yeah, Rap Sheet again, just tweeting out, the Eagles are releasing veteran defensive tackle T.Y. McGill. Source said he recently spent time on the COVID list, but did flash in the preseason.
Well, maybe that's code for Ridgeway has your job. I mean, listen, Ridgeway played the 8th most snaps of the D lineman yesterday. He played very well. All right, Joe DeCamera, John Rich up ahead, more calls, plus the Merrill montage, how it sounded yesterday on WIP. Merrill and Mike with the call of the game. You'll hear all that up ahead. Joe DeCamera and John Ritchie on WIP. Hey, let me tell you about FanDuel Sportsbook. What a great game we have up ahead here on Sunday with Kansas City and Baltimore. And FanDuel Sportsbook, in partnership with Valley Forge Casino, is about to make it even bigger because FanDuel is giving new customers 30-1 odds on either team to win. That means you can end the weekend right by winning $150 on a $5 bet. Every time I tell you about this, I'm like, I can't even believe I'm saying these words. I can't believe FanDuel makes this a possibility, but they do. Think about this. You bet $5, you pick the team, and if you are right with that pick, you win $150, and there's no catch. It's legit. It's the real deal when you sign up with FanDuel Sportsbook using promo code HAMMER. FanDuel Sportsbook, the official partner of 94 WIP, always hooking you up with great offers, and, of course, when you win, they get you paid fast. Your winnings in as little as 24 hours. See for yourself why FanDuel Sportsbook is America's #1 sportsbook. And again, win $150 in just a $5 bet when you sign up using promo code HAMMER. Promo code HAMMER with FanDuel Sportsbook.
Most mortgage lenders charge a fee, sometimes up to 1.5 points for pulling cash out of your home's equity. Those points are on your whole loan balance, not just the cash you get. For example, if your loan amount is $400,000, that's a $6,000 fee. For a limited time, Owning will waive this fee so qualified borrowers can get a cash-out refi with absolutely no closing costs of any kind. Besides the usual no title, escrow, appraisal, etc., no fees for a cash-out on a 30-year fixed mortgage. So if you're in process somewhere and paying fees, call 8332-OWNING or go to owning.com, where our rate and APR for a no cash-out fee 30-year fixed mortgage is 2.75%. But hurry, the mortgage industry won't like this, so who knows when this special goes away. Call 8332-OWNING or go to owning.com.
NMLS 2611, licensed by the Department of Financial Protection and Innovation under the California Residential Mortgage Lending Act. Subject to credit approval. Call 833-303-2160 for terms and conditions. Equal housing lender.
Hey, I'm Peter Bukowski, host of the Locked On Today podcast. Trying to stay on top of every big story in sports is a full-time job. I know, because it is my full-time job. But it's not yours. That's why we have a network of local experts ready to give you the inside scoop on everything you truly need to know in the sports world. And we do it every day to make sure you're always caught up on the latest and greatest in sports. Listen to the Locked On Today podcast every day on the Odyssey app or wherever you get podcasts.
You want to know what wagertainment is? It's the picks, the analysis, the information, mixed with the laughter and the entertainment, smart sports betting content that'll put a smile on your face.
The BetQL Network, streaming live each day and helping you bet smarter.
If you're a sports fan, you know why you should listen. It's sports betting content without the BS. No hot takes, no nonsense.
The BetQL Network, streaming live right now on Odyssey.
Sports, bets, and entertainment.